A Korean Mafia boss who owns every byte of data in this city presses me against the panoramic window of his penthouse. He saved me from my ex, but his price was higher. "I know what lives in your blood," he whispers, looking not at me, but at the reflection in the glass, where for a second, instead of my face, there is the face of an ancient African goddess. "And I will not let you go until it belongs to me." You think your boss is tough? Mine owns my soul. If you want to see how a goddess trapped in a waitress uniform starts a war, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell. You do not want to miss this. My night started with a scream. Not a scream of terror, but of pure, weaponized stress that had been simmering on the grill for hours. "Aaliyah!" Chef Kang's voice cracked like a whip through the kitchen chaos, a sound more searing than the flash of oil in a hot pan. "This glass has a smudge." "A smudge? Do you think Mr. Jae-Hwan built this empire on smudges?" I navigated the battlefield of clanging steel, hissing grills, and cursing line cooks, my heart hammering a rhythm against my ribs that matched the frantic, four-on-the-floor beat of the house music bleeding through the doors. The kitchen at Aura was a pressure cooker, a place where Jae-Hwan's obsession with perfection was law, and Chef Kang was his high priest of torment. As the chef, a man whose tattoos told more stories than his words, continued his tirade, I focused on breathing. Inhale the scent of seared steak and citrus, exhale the fear. But as he slammed the glass down, the shadow cast by the rack of gleaming knives on the wall seemed to sharpen, to lengthen, responding to the rage I was so carefully swallowing. Then, two men in suits that cost more than my college debt appeared at the kitchen's entrance. The cacophony died instantly. Even Chef Kang's mouth snapped shut. The men's silence was in order. The other staff averted their eyes, suddenly fascinated by their cutting boards and workstations. In Jae-Hwan's world, you are either an asset or a liability, and when you are summoned, you do not ask why. The elevator ride to the penthouse was a silent ascent into another reality. The frantic energy of the restaurant fell away, replaced by a low subaudible hum of immense unseen power. The air grew colder, thinner, smelling of sanitized steel and ozone. We stepped out into a space that was less a home and more a server farm with a view. Glass walls displayed the city's glittering grid, a river of data flowing beneath us. And in the center of it all stood Jae-Hwan, a statue carved from shadow and ambition. He doesn't greet me. He doesn't even look at me. He is studying a holographic schematic of the city's power grid swirling in the air before him. With a dismissive flick of his wrist, the hologram dissolves. He gestures to a screen the size of a wall. The image that flashes to life is brutally clear, a high-definition nightmare. It's my ex, Kevin, looking like a cornered rat, his hands shaking as he shoves my grandmother's bracelet across a table. It's a heavy, coiled piece of brass, etched with symbols I don't understand, but have felt my whole life. The man taking it is Silas, a rival syndicate leader with a bleach blonde undercut and the dead eyes of a shark. "Your ex started a war using your legacy," Jae-Hwan says, his voice a low, chilling hum. His gaze finally lands on me, and it's not a look, it's a scan. I feel stripped bare, my fears and secrets downloaded, analyzed in a nanosecond. On the screens behind him, I see glimpses of my own life flash by: school records, deleted texts, medical files. He is showing me that he already owns my past. He presents me with a choice that is no choice at all. "You will help me end it," he says, each word a perfectly weighted stone, "and you will become mine. Or you can become an anomaly, an error in the system that I will be forced to delete." He summons his specialist. A woman named Rumi arrives, a splash of electric purple and neon yellow in the sterile gray penthouse. A single thick purple braid hung down her back like a mythical creature's tail. She moved with a dancer's grace and a soldier's purpose. She called my bloodline a legacy server and the bracelet a sentient piece of malware. To understand the curse, she explained, her voice crisp and professional, She needed to establish a direct interface. She needed to touch me. Jae-Hwan gave a curt, almost imperceptible nod, his eyes never leaving my face. He doesn't leave. He stays. He watches. He stands so close as Rumi prepares her equipment that I can feel the heat radiating from his body, a silent furnace of power. I smell the sharp, clean scent of his cologne, a fragrance that costs more than my rent, a scent of money and absolute suffocating control. Rumi's hands are cold as they hover over my skin, her fingers tracing patterns in the air. A holographic interface shimmers between us, displaying lines of code that twist and writhe like snakes. But it is Jae-Hwan's presence that is the true torture. His gaze is a physical weight, a silent claim of ownership over my body, my past, and the storm raging inside me. I feel a cold pull from within, the ancient thing in my blood stirring in response to his proximity. My failure is absolute and crushing. In the most vulnerable moment of my life, exposed and terrified, I find myself desperately craving a single touch from the very man who looks at me as if I am nothing more than a beautiful, dangerous cage for a beast he intends to break. The lights in the penthouse flicker violently. The low hum of the servers pitches into a high-frequency whine. Rumi's tablet screen cracks, and a voice, ancient and digital, hisses from its speakers, a poem of corrupted code and forgotten power. A debt of blood, a chain of brass. Through screen of light, this curse will pass. The bearers fear, a feast to be, until the storm consumes the sea. Rumi stumbles back, her professional mask shattered, revealing raw fear. It's adaptive, she gasps, staring at her smoking tablet. It's learning from the network. She fails spectacularly in the center of Jae-Hwan's command hub, a cathedral of data where holographic maps pulsed with red alerts. The screens showed Silas wrapped in an aura of dark energy, systematically hijacking Jae-Hwan's digital territories. V1's sleek corporate logos flickered, overwritten by the garish, grinning lotus of Silas's syndicate. Financial data streams turned to gibberish. The city map bled red. When Rumi admitted she couldn't contain it, a lethal calm settled over Jae-Hwan. His fury was a drop in temperature, a promise of silent, total annihilation. He was about to give an order that would unleash a wave of violence. That is when I step forward. "You're all blind," I say. My voice is quiet, but it cuts through the tension like a razor. The room of hardened killers and tech wizards freezes. I look directly into Jae-Hwan's black, fathomless eyes. "You're trying to fight a demon with firewalls and algorithms. But you just need to remind him he's afraid of the dark." The words pour out of me, fueled by a rage I didn't know I possessed. I remembered the whispers from other waitresses, the gossip that floated through the club like smoke. His power is in the bracelet, yes. But his weakness is the memory of a rainy night on the West Side Bridge. The night he let his own brother fall just to get away. The raw, intimate cruelty of my knowledge hangs in the air. Jae-Hwan, stunned into stillness, raises a single hand, silencing Rumi before she can object. He crosses the room and grabs my arm. His touch is electric. The look in his eyes is no longer cold calculation. It is a wildfire of raw, possessive interest in the woman who just proved to be more dangerous and more valuable than any curse. He doesn't use magic. He uses my truth as a weapon. He doesn't send an army. He sends a single encrypted data packet. A ghost. A memory. We watch on the main screen as the information hits Silas's network. It's not a virus, it's a whisper. A single archived news photo of a young boy being pulled from the river. The curse, which was feeding on Silas's ambition, now feeds on his terror. The dark energy turns inward, consuming its host in a feedback loop of digital paranoia and buried guilt. We see camera feeds of Silas screaming at shadows in his own headquarters, his empire crumbling from the inside out as the ghost of his brother stares back at him from every screen. It is brilliant. It is brutal. It is over. Later, the command hub is silent, save for the low hum of the servers. Jae-Hwan stands before me in the penthouse. The city lights a galaxy of conquered stars at our feet. He holds out the brass bracelet. It is warm, dormant, humming faintly with a power that now recognizes me. I was looking for a weapon, he admits, his voice rough, stripped of its usual control. A power to own. He takes a step closer, his presence filling the space between us. But I found something more valuable. Your mind, your will. He gently takes my hand, his touch sending a shockwave through my entire being, and slides the bracelet back onto my wrist. It settles against my skin like a missing part of my soul. And that is when he backs me against the panoramic window, trapping me between his body and the endless sky. He saved me from my ex, but his price was higher. I know what lives in your blood, he whispers, his breath warm against my ear, his gaze fixed not on me, but on our reflection in the glass, where for a fleeting, terrifying second, instead of my face, there is the face of an ancient, powerful African goddess, and I will not let you go until it belongs to me. So who do you think will win? The man who controls the city, or the goddess who controls the storm? Drop your vote in the comments. Team Jae-Hwan or Team Aaliyah? Hit that like button, share this with your friends, and get ready, because the real war is just beginning.